Anyway, Fraser.
Hello.
Barry. Welcome to Here We Are. How are you doing?
I'm good. Now that I've told you my fantasies of my seeing a woman. Was that filming?
Yeah, I think so. It's all good. We've got it all. We're all ready to go out, so the world can hear all of our geometrically attractive women stories. Yeah. So tell us about the music then. What music? So tell us about the music that you make.
So yeah, it's acoustic folk punk. It never. I don't even know where to start. I didn't know it was. I had no idea. I was just like, because I've always done music and that, and then as I got older, like my music kind of changed. Like the way I write, I think, just like changed because I got older and I stopped just singing about love as you do when you're like 18 with a guitar.
Yeah.
And I just started writing about other stuff, but like with like a bit of like attitude or emotion behind it. And I'm not trying to think like I'm the first person to ever say that, but like the way I play, it's kind of got that, I think, like British passive aggressiveness to it.
Okay.
Accidentally, like like when I'm singing, like, because a lot of my songs are about like mental health.
Yeah.
And when I'm singing about them, like I do just like get into it. And some of it's a bit shoutier, some it's a bit rappier, some bits are a bit lairier. But yeah, I wouldn't know because it's sort of folky, but it has like punk undertones to it. So I wouldn't say I'm folk, and it's hard because when you go to apply for...
Well, I mean, with folk, there is that whole, like, it is a whole scene to itself. Like,
it's a whole umbrella, isn't it?
And obviously it's folk music, you can trace it right back to, sort of indigenous peoples of these isles,
it goes back.
So it goes way back, and people are, and quite rightly so, maintaining all of that stuff. But you slot into that just because you're an acoustic,
just because I'm a fellow with an acoustic guitar.
Yeah, it doesn't make you folk, but it is a good way to have people. If you say folk, people expect acoustic guitar. So
I think that's the folk behind me. I think it's just an acoustic guitar.
But you are also singing about your own real life, which is also like a folk thing to do. Is singing songs about
the storytelling, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Storytelling from.
Because I've never been good at like coming up with fictional songs. Like I know like a lot of bands who like can write like quite metaphorically, and dance around the point and stuff, and not directly say what they're talking about. Someone I was listening to like today's like 1975. They do a lot of their lyrics and they don't always sing together. One of my favourite bands ever, probably my favourite band ever, is the Front Bottoms.
Okay,
They're like acoustic folk punk really out in America, and they're quite good at these metaphors and not really following a narrative, and I find that really hard to do because I write quite literally. And like
I'm quite the same in my songs that I write.
Like, so you understand? You get it. Like,
direct. And I'm capable of the metaphor, but sometimes I feel like that you do lose sometimes the point you're trying to make if you try and disguise it too much. You're like, if you're having to tell people, do you know what this is about, and then just explain the song, then you haven't written the song right.
Yeah, because I was talking to somebody the other day about it, and I was like, I want people to know what I'm writing about. I don't want them to. I don't mind them coming away with like their own interpretation, but I want them to know what I was trying to write. Like I'm very direct, and like because I've gone to a lot of therapy myself, and like I've navigated my way around my own brain and my mental health. I'm not insecure about laying things bare. And so I don't feel the need to, in my case, I don't feel the need to hide behind a metaphor. I'm more than happy to say I've done some really fucking dumb shit and upset people in the past, sort of thing. But I've grown now. I'm an adult, and like I've got a song called "Mistakes Don't Define You," which is about that sort of thing. Whereas before therapy and sorting my brain out, I think I probably would have either hidden behind the metaphors more as a way of keeping like myself.
It's difficult to publicly own your own mistakes and then to address them, but then also to use them. Like I always call it, like, so one of our albums was called Cautionary Tales, and that's how I describe most of my songs. They are a cautionary tale for something, because it is how I've lived life. But it can be, if you disguise it too much, then is it really, so I get that,
exactly. But the way I work with people, because I am massively into my mental health, the way I work with people, it's a thing called appropriate disclosure, and it's something a therapist will do. Say, example, they have a client and the client is talking about how, I don't know, anxiety around a maths test or something, or whatever like that. The therapist then comes in and says, well, actually, I have experience in this, and it's about appropriate disclosure. And it's found that if you lay things bare first and say, this is my life, or this is what I have been through, or this is what I have done, or anything like that, it ignites something within the person who is watching or listening. It gives them the ability to, if they want to, and the comfort to reflect and think about themselves and their life, because I'm all about helping people help themselves. Like, and if I can help, I will, because I'm massively into my mental health, and so, but I do that through song. So I say, here are all the things I go through, like all like the catastrophizing, the anxiety, and all this, the waves of life and the brain and stuff, and then. Like there's no better feeling as listening to music when you're going through something, and then you hear someone sing about it. You go, oh, that's it's extremely validating, extremely reassuring, and it just makes you feel like a little bit less alone, a little bit less crazy. And that's what I don't intentionally do it. But once I've realised I've written a song, that's what I like to do for others. I like to lay myself.
If someone else can connect in it that way, then
I just like to lay myself bare. Because it's sort of my own therapy as well. I've always been into poetry. I don't consider myself a guitarist, not even a singer really. I just like poems. That I just love rhyming. That's how I write my songs. Like I was sat here earlier today and I was trying to write loads of chord progressions. I couldn't come up with any songs because I write all my songs as poems. And then I read it, and then I kind of like, oh, how would that sound? And I go, find a guitar, oh, that's how it goes. I've always been to poetry. But a lot of people say, oh, I've been into music since I was 4 and I had a talent for it ever since. That's not my case. Like, for majority of my life, I've been quite shit at music. Like, I've never been one of those people, like, I started guitar when I was 4 and my parents were in this and that.
I can kind of relate to that because I was always a writer. If you'd asked me at 6 what I wanted to be when I was older, I wanted to be a writer. Like, I'd just write prose for a long time.
I wanted to be a banker.
And you wanted to be a banker?
Up until the age of 16.
Oh wow, that is quite late.
That's when I started guitar.
I started at 16 as well.
Did you?
Yeah, so...
Hey, late bloomers.
And then I started putting the words to that gradually, or having the confidence to make it into a song. So I'd do it at home, but the confidence to actually sing to people these songs. I was in a band as the drummer, but to confidence to actually go out and sing the songs took into my 20s before I felt like I can deliver them properly, and I want to share them with the world. So it's quite satisfying and quite.
It's a nice feeling, because rhyming's fun. I love it. Like, especially when you find yourself in that state of flow, and you look up and it's been an hour and a half, and you're like, oh, I forgot to eat.
I tend to be quite. I don't do a lot of rhyme, and it annoys some people. Actually, I've had feedback where they're like, "Oh, I always expect the song to rhyme," but it's actually metrically interesting, or there's a lot more interesting wordplay going on, or there might be a mid rhyme, so mid sentence.
Internal rhymes.
Internal rhymes, all these other bits and pieces that I've thrown in there. But some people are just like, I wanted it to rhyme.
It doesn't have to.
I'm just like, that's fine.
It doesn't have to. But the reason why it rhymes for me is because I never really listened to much music growing up. I listened to my mum's, like Phil Collins and Genesis and Dolly Parton and that. But my first interest musically was rap. The first album I ever asked for was Eminem Curtain Call.
Nice.
And I loved the storytelling, the rhyming. I loved it. So that stuck with me. That's why 95% of my lyrics do rhyme, just because my brain goes, well done, you did a rhyme, well done, nice one. But that's kind of why I kind of like the rhyming side of things.
I think it also comes into the poetic influences on me. I really liked a lot of Carol Ann Duffy and Sylvia Plath, and a lot of these quite dark, but also they were also quite interesting, where words weren't quite the same as not like the older poetry that was that 20th century stuff that the much older the 20th century, late 20th century stuff that was a bit more interesting, and it was just random. There'll be one word is the whole
the whole thing, and that's it.
And you're like, I like that sort of stuff. I'm not necessarily as clever as these people, but I like.
But you still like it,
I
exactly.
Like that approach.
I just like writing. I like the whole rhyming thing, and I think it's just cool to be able to write a narrative and stuff. But as I said, I was 60. I had I was showing Mia videos the other day of because I've got my old hard drive of all my old videos of when I started, and I've had to do 800 gigs to get where I am now. Because when I started, I was shit. And I was 16, 17, I was awful when I started. I was really, 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 really bad. And I'm not one of those people who's just had it in them, or like has music in the family or anything like that.
Yeah,
I wanted to be I just liked it, and I was like, I'm going to do more of this. I don't know why people were booking me for shows up until the age of about 23, I'd say at least. I'm 25 now. I just don't understand why, because up until most of that, I would consider it unbearable.
Yeah.
Now it's like, it's okay enough for me to tell the story, and people go, oh, okay, that's like, it's more tolerable than what I was writing and doing before. But yeah, writing's good fun, and music is just, it's the one.
Yeah. Well, welcome and thanks for coming down here, Peterborough. This is your first time in Peterborough?
First time in Peterborough.
What are your initial thoughts? You've only really come to an industrial unit, so.
Yeah, great industrial unit. I'm not going to lie. Because I did go and get food earlier, and I was getting really angry. I was trying to go into the place where the Tesco and the Burger King are, and it took me into like this place, and the road was closed off. I was like, okay, so I went to spin around going the other lane, and that was a bus lane. And I was like, what? So I had to spin around and come back. And then it was just, I think it's because I was sassy hungry.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get you.
Hangry.
Yeah, hangry,
and there's a science behind hangry, isn't there? Because the reason why we get angry when we're hungry is because it's like a caveman sort of thing of like the way to survive, because then it wants you to. But instead of me wanting to run in and punch someone for a Burger King, I had to remember I'm in the 21st century. And
can't go punching people for Burger King these days, not in 2023.
I mean, I would.
You'll get cancelled.
I'll get cancelled before I even started.
It'll be like, this guy punches Burger King employees.
But it's any bad publicity is still good publicity, right?
Depends. Go punch someone in Burger King.
The Burger King
out,
puncher. I've done worse for less. I was young and needed the money.
Give me a Whopper.
Yeah, so that was it. I was going around requesting people's Whoppers for £5.
Yeah. Just hustling up to people, being like, "Hey, can you go in and get me a Whopper? 'Cause I'm banned from Burger Kings."
Excuse me. It's like a 16-year-old trying to get like a can of Foster's, and he's like, "Excuse me, sir, can you go in there and get me a Burger King? I'm banned." But yeah, have you ever been banned from a shop?
Yeah, I've been banned from a few. Virgin Megastore for shoplifting when I was a teenager. So I'm not allowed to step foot in a Virgin Megastore anymore for the rest of my life.
Do you reckon?
Yeah, except that they were all bust, aren't they? So who got the last laugh?
You probably made a bankrupt. You probably made a bankrupt from stealing from them.
It's all me. It's all my teenage. Yeah.
Where else are you?
And then Boots in Reading.
Nice.
Yeah. During Reading Festival, I went in there with my mate, and we were just messing around or whatever. And but I nudged my mate, and he just fell into this end like thing and pulled down this whole thing of like this whole display. And I was trying to buy some stuff, so the security guy spoke to me out. I was like, I need this stuff. Can I buy it? So he marches me to the counter and buy the thing, and then
it kicks you out.
Yeah, and I got banned from Boots in Reading. And then a few years later, I was dating a girl who lived in Reading. And I went there. I was like, I can't really go in this Boots, but I couldn't tell her. I didn't want to tell her that I'm banned from the Boots.
Can't tell her why. Sorry, babe, I'm banned from Boots.
I'm walking in there being like, so yeah, trespass.
Ooh. My mum got banned from Iceland.
So that advert, mum.
That's why my mum doesn't go to Iceland.
Yeah, your mum doesn't go to Iceland.
She'd ordered some shopping, and I think I think she missed the delivery. She just gave them hell down the phone. So they delivered the shopping and left a note. It was like, "Don't ever contact this place again. Don't ever step foot into our shop ever again." So she had to use me as a front.
Yeah.
I had to get my own Iceland card so she can get her shopping delivered. And I felt like a drug mule, but for Iceland shopping.
Gotta get them nugs.
Gotta get them nugs, that's it. Where else? I temporarily got banned from Turtle Bay, my hometown, and it's not even a cool story. It was on my birthday, and I found out that my friend who was working for them he had a table walk out on him. It's like a £250 table. It's a bit shy, and the manager was like, "I'm taking all of the money from your pay." And me and another local business owner found out, and we're no fucking Batman, but we were like, "Well, that's completely immoral because Turtle Bay can easily swallow that £250. What's that to them?" So we went in there, and we were really nice, and we just spoke to her, "Hey, what's happened here? Like, is there any way around this? Like, that's not entirely fair. Like, he's on minimum wage, just like the rest of us. Like, have a bit of slack."
I also think it's actually probably illegal, to be honest.
I think they were trying to take out his tips in the end. And it was
wouldn't be illegal, but to take it deducted from his actual wage,
and it was just a bit dodgy. And then I found out I got banned because there was this girl who worked there who knew me, and she told them my name, and I was like, "Fuck you." So, but yeah, I don't think I am illegal because I've been in there since. So, and they said nothing.
Yeah.
But
gotta get that jerk chicken.
Oh, have you had their jerk chicken as well?
It's decent, isn't it?
Fucking banging in it. I love a bit of jerk chicken. It's so good. Like, I would love to learn to make jerk chicken.
It's probably achievable. I think that's an achievable life goal.
Probably. I'm homeless at the minute, so I can't.
Well, I mean, that doesn't mean you can't learn, because you could go work in a jerk chicken place.
Could. I think Colchester has one though.
Open one. Go get a grant. There you go. That's one way around it. Go get a grant. Open a jerk chicken place and be like, I'm the jerk chicken guy. You said you never really intended to make folk punk music. You never really intended to open a jerk chicken restaurant. It just happens.
These things happen.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This just happened to me.
Do you know? I found out recently that Pepsi were trying to compete with Coke, to become the bigger brand, and it worked out that it was cheaper for them to buy Pizza Hut, I think KFC and Taco Bell, and to sell Pepsi there, than it was to try and compete with Coca-Cola.
That's what always makes me angry. We can bring it back to Burger King. Burger King make me angry because
why?
I love Wimpy. Burger King destroyed Wimpy because basically Burger King were trying to compete with McDonald's in the UK. They couldn't. Every time they opened one,
went, fuck you, Wimpy.
So they went. We're going to buy Wimpy. We turn them all into Burger Kings, all the decent ones, right? So now they got all the market share, and then they sold off the rest of Wimpy. We've got all the decent stuff, turned it into Burger Kings. That's the way that Burger King entered the UK. They couldn't do it. They couldn't do it through having decent burgers because, let's face it, they're not really worth punching someone in the face for, are they? So
no, they're not.
Wimpy's though, I'd go to war for Wimpy.
I would kneecap a granny for a Wimpy.
Yeah. It's the pork bender for me, you know what I mean? Like
pork bender?
Yeah.
Oh, I know someone called the pork bender, but for different reasons.
And I think that concludes our little chat.
Nice one, man. Thank you very much.